Before I start this, just understand something. I thought I knew what strength was. I thought it was discipline, control, holding everything together no matter what. I was the solid one, the composed one, the one who doesn't break. And then I lost her. And in a moment, I realized I'd confused strength with control. Because when something happens that you cannot fix, cannot reverse, cannot power through, you find out very quickly what you're really made of. Losing her didn't just hurt me, it redefined me. There's a version of me from a few years ago that doesn't exist anymore. And I don't say it dramatically, I say it honestly, because life will split you into two versions, the one before the fall and the one after. And I lived both. I used to think I was strong, disciplined, focused, sharp. I trained hard, ate clean, stayed structured, handled responsibilities. I was the one people relied on, the one who didn't complain, the one who figured it out. If something broke, I fixed it. If something went wrong, I handled it. That was my identity, strength, control, composure. And then life did something I couldn't fix. It didn't test my discipline, it didn't test my grind, it tested my heart. And when your heart gets hit, the gym doesn't prepare you for that. Losing someone you love is like someone quietly removing a pillar from your foundation. From the outside, the building still stands, but inside, it's unstable. And the world doesn't stop. That's the strangest part. The sun still rises, people still post, money still moves, deadlines still exist. And you're standing there thinking, how is everything normal? Because nothing feels normal. I remember the silence, the kind of silence that's loud, the kind that presses on your chest. I remember sitting alone at night, phone in my hand, scrolling without seeing anything, trying to distract myself from thoughts that wouldn't leave. Memories, conversations, regret, the wish I had, the if onlys. Those thoughts are heavy, heavier than any weights I've ever lifted. People tell you to stay strong, but they don't tell you what that actually means. Because strength in grief doesn't look powerful, it looks messy. It looks like waking up and not wanting to get out of bed. It looks like pretending that you're fine in public. It looks like holding it together until you're alone. And then it looks like breaking quietly. I didn't talk about it much, not because I didn't feel it, but because I didn't know how to. How do you explain that part of your world is gone? How do you explain that the person you were disappeared with it? And here's the part nobody sees. When you lose someone close to you, you don't just lose them, you lose the version of yourself that existed with them. The jokes, the shared history, the comfort, the role you played in each other's life. It's like a chapter gets ripped out, and you're forced to keep reading. That year, I felt lost, not financially, not physically, internally. Lost, like I was walking forward without knowing who was walking. I questioned everything, my direction, my purpose, my ambitions, even my identity. I left stability, left comfort, walked away from what looked secure because something inside of me shifted. When you face mortality up close, your priorities rearrange. Suddenly, titles don't impress you, money doesn't excite you the same, approval doesn't matter. You start asking deeper questions. If this all ended tomorrow, would I be proud how I lived? That question haunted me. There were days I felt angry, angry at life, angry at timing, angry at unfairness. But anger eventually turns into exhaustion, and exhaustion forces reflection. One night, I remember looking at myself in the mirror, and I didn't recognize the energy in my own eyes. It wasn't weakness, it wasn't fear, it was heaviness. And I realized something that scared me. I'd been surviving, but I wasn't living. The gym became a therapy, not for aesthetics, not for ego, but for survival. Every rep became a release. Every breath under the weight became proof that I was still here, still capable, still breathing. Because when your heart feels shattered, you need something physical to remind you that you're alive. But here's the truth, you can train your body, you can control your diet, you can master discipline, but grief doesn't follow your routine. It hits you randomly in the car, in a quiet room, when you hear a song, when you see an old photo, and suddenly you're not composed anymore. You're just human, and being human was something I had avoided for a long time. I hid behind strength, I hid behind structure, I hid behind productivity, because if I was busy, I didn't have to feel. But pain doesn't disappear, it waits patiently until you sit still. There were nights I questioned everything. Why her? Why now? What's the point of all of this effort if life can change in seconds? Those questions don't have a neat answers. And that's frustrating because I like solutions, I like control. But loss teaches you something brutal. You're not in control. You never were. And that realization can break you or it can rebuild you. For a while, it broke me. Quietly, no dramatic collapse, just internal erosion. Doubt, numbness, emptiness, smiling in public, thinking in private. But something changed. Not overnight, not suddenly, gradually. I stopped asking, why did this happen? And I started asking, who am I becoming because of this? That shift changed everything. Pain started teaching me. It taught me empathy, it taught me depth, it taught me patience, it taught me that strength isn't loud. Strength is sitting in your darkest thoughts and not letting them win. I realized something powerful. The version of me before the fall was confident but fragile because his strength was built on everything going right. The version of me after the fall, he knows things can go wrong and he's still standing, and that's different and that's real. I stopped chasing validation, stopped trying to impress, stopped caring about comparison. When you sat in real pain, social media competition looks small, petty arguments look small, ego looks small. You gain perspective, and perspective is power. I started living slower, more intentional, more present, calling family more, listening more, feeling more. Not because it's trendy, because I know how fast things can disappear. There's something about loss that matures you instantly. You age emotionally, you see life differently, you stop wasting time, you stop playing small, you stop tolerating nonsense because you understand time is limited. And here's the uncomfortable truth: that painful year, it built the strongest version of me. Not the most polished, not the most high, the most grounded. I don't fear downfall the same anymore because I've seen it, I've survived it, I've sat in it, and I didn't collapse. If you're watching this and you're in your downfall season, listen carefully. You're not being destroyed, you're being reshaped. But reshaping hurts, growth hurts, awareness hurts, letting go hurts. There were moments I wanted to escape it all, distract myself, numb it, but facing it changed me. You don't grow by avoiding pain, you grow by walking through it. One day I realized I wasn't broken, I was deeper, and there's a difference. Broken means useless, deeper means wiser, and depth changes how you move, how you speak, how you decide, how you love. The version of me now feels more but fears less because I know I can survive impact. I know I can sit in discomfort. I know I can rebuild. And that's confidence. It's unshakable, not because life is perfect, but because I'm prepared for imperfection. If everything fell apart in your life right now, who would you be underneath it? Strip away money, strip away status, strip away routine, strip away comfort. Who are you? That's the question loss forces you to answer. And once you answer it, you become powerful. The year I lost everything was the year I found myself. Not the surface version, the real one. The man who understands time. The man who values depth. The man who chooses purpose over ego. The man who doesn't fear darkness because he walked through it. I miss her. I always will. That doesn't fade. But instead of letting the pain weaken me, I let it refine me. Her absence became my discipline. Her memory became my drive. Her life became my reminder. Live fully, love deeply, move boldly, because nothing is guaranteed. If you're in pain right now, I'm not going to tell you it gets easy. It doesn't. But it gets meaningful. And meaningful is better than easy. Easy doesn't grow you, meaning does. Your downfall season might be the foundation of your greatness. Not in a flashy way, but in a grounded way, in a way that makes you untouchable internally. You will smile again, not a fake smile, a real smile. You will feel light again. You will feel purpose again. And when you do, it will be earned. The strongest people aren't the ones who never break. They're the ones who break and rebuild consciously, brick by brick, habit by habit, choice by choice. I'm not the same man I was before, and I'm grateful for that because that version of me hadn't been tested yet. This one has, and he's still here, still standing, still growing, still becoming. So if life has hit you hard, good. Not because pain is good, but because pressure creates depth, and depth creates power, and power creates legacy. The year I lost everything was the year I stopped pretending to be strong and started becoming unbreakable. Not because nothing can hurt me, but because I know I can survive hurt. And if I can, so can you.